everybody, Tony and Sarah Zolecki. It is great to be with you guys today. We want to talk to you guys about, well, is it a myth or is it real? Like, can you really find the perfect online business, right? So we want to talk to you guys about the facts of a very successful network marketing business. So if you guys are watching us live, it is great to be with you guys today. Super excited to share with you. And oh gosh, we've been able to be part of this amazing profession for the last 25 years. Crazy. We were kids basically growing up in this business, and I think for a lot of us, we all have these dreams when we're kids of things that we want to do and things that we want to be. And I know for myself, my whole goal in my life was to be a teacher. I love being a teacher. If there's any teachers that are watching, we love you. And I actually fell into network marketing just kind of out of the blue. I was dating a guy at the time, and he introduced me to the business, and I fell in love with it. It's funny though. I mean, he quit 2 weeks in, right? So, it's the way that it goes. People quit on things, but, I didn't, and I stayed in 25 years later, and it's so cool to be part of this amazing profession. And obviously it's evolved a lot over the last, couple of decades. But, I'll tell you, it's the timing of people being part of this amazing profession. It, quite frankly, it can't get any better than it is right now. Let me tell you that.
Yeah. For me, I was actually working on my mom's taco truck, and I found out about network marketing. My sister got involved, called my mom and I. We raced down from Milwaukee to Chicago to hear about this company my sister was in, and we got all fired up that night. We all joined and started building, a business together as a family. And I was 19 years old, and I think back to that company, that experience, and I learned a lot. I didn't make a lot of money, but I learned a lot. And it's so different today than it was back then.
Yeah. And
we kind of want to talk to you about that, because Sarah and I, we met in this profession, 17, 18 years ago, and got married, had 2 beautiful kids, and had this awesome story. But the thing about it is this, it's like we figured out a way to stay in. And today, what Sarah just said is so true. Like, the way the world is set up, it's pushing everybody to raise their hand, to find a home-based business, to do something online, to have something more they control, not everybody else control it for them. And we wanted to share with you, well, what does that look like today, and how do I know what's the right company?
Yeah. Well, I think about too, like when we first got started, so we've been in the profession 25 years, right? We've been in 3 companies. And I think like most people, they've been in multiple companies. Like, that's not a rare thing, because just things happen, things change, companies go out of business, you end up finding out like that specific company isn't your home, it doesn't necessarily align with who you are, right? And it's not like good or bad, or it's just kind of indifferent, right? And so, so for us, we've been through a couple of different companies, and I think too, looking back on, our first company, it's crazy. We both were in the same company, but we didn't know each other.
Never met.
We didn't actually meet till our 3rd company. Crazy, right? So wild. Or our 2nd company, I should say. But I look at, that company at the time, and unfortunately it went out of business, but there's a couple of things there that were like key things. I wasn't the girl that had tremendous success right away. I don't know if any of you guys, can relate, but maybe you've been struggling inside of your network marketing business, or haven't been able to figure it out, or, you're like, or maybe you've hit a plateau, or you're stuck, or maybe you've gone backwards, or what have you, and you're like, my gosh, like, why isn't this working for me? And I'll tell you, like, I felt that, my first 5 years, I made a little bit of money, but nothing to like write home about, nothing to be like, oh my gosh, like I made it. No, not at all. It was definitely like, oh my gosh, I'm not making it, is really what was happening. But I still believed in the dream, right? I still believed in what was possible. I fell in love with the, concept of people helping people. I fell in love with the relationships. I fell in love with a guy, right? I fell in love with all those things. And so I look back now, mean, that, you know, we're going to talk to you guys about kind of like really like what really makes a successful business. I think a lot of people are, you know, Googling online, like, how do I find the perfect company, or how do I find a business that really works for me? And I feel that, you know, I think at this point, I feel like we're able to say, hey, listen, like, this is what is working, guys, after 25 years, right? And I just feel that, I feel like a lot of times there's people out there that, you know, they're involved in these companies that people just are not really telling them the truth of what's really going down. You know what I mean? It's like they see all these, you know, the hype, and they see all these different things, but behind closed doors, you know, there's some things that are very fundamentally wrong, that no matter what, even if you are doing the deal, even if you are, you know, using the skills that are taught in network marketing with inviting and follow up and all, even if you're like busting it out and you're, you know, doing everything and you're laying it out, you're still not going to have the success, because the system behind it all is totally busted. It's totally busted. And what breaks my heart is that people aren't willing to be upfront and talk about that. And so people are involved in companies that they're not having the success, and they're like saying, oh, well, this industry stinks. And it's like, no, it doesn't. It's like, if you find the right company that has the components that are really important to make a company spin in a good way, where people are winning and people are able to help people as far as customers and that sort of thing, my gosh, like, it's the best environment ever. But I think people need to be willing to own up to it and quit saying like, hey, this is, you know, this is the best of the best of the best, and it's really not, and they're not willing to talk about it, right? So I just am seeing so many people get hurt in a lot of companies, and it breaks my heart, and I'm like, guys, why are you doing that? Like, that's just not right. It's just not the right way to do business. And so, you know, so for us, we decided, you know what, we're going to get online today, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it, we're going to lay it out, and we're just going to say, hey guys, like, this is what is really important. If you are looking for a company, like, you have to be looking for these things. And these things, guys, are super important. It's not like, oh, well, I'll maybe you look for, if I just have two of these things out of the rest, I'm okay. No, you're actually not okay. Like, it's kind of like having two, you know, a chain link. And if you have two strong links, out of the 10, what kind of link are you going to have? You ain't going to have a link. It's going to fall apart. It's not going to be strong, right? And so I tell people, like, you have to, guys, be willing to sit down and be really smart about making a decision to be involved with certain companies, because you have to make sure they check all the boxes. Here's the problem, though. People don't know what boxes to check. Yeah. Right?
Most don't.
Some of you guys watching goes, well, I don't even know what the boxes are. Well, guess what? We're going to give you the boxes. We're going to give you the checklist. So you're going to make sure to go check, 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 check. You know what I mean? And find the right one that works for you, right?
So let's kind of start. The first one for us, and it's major, and Sarah's going to go into it, but I want to cover some things really quick about it, is social media, and everything should be online.
Yes.
Now, here is the big thing I want to be sure you're super clear on. People say, well, my company has a website, and they post stuff online, and, you know, they have a group, and they put all the updates in there. That is not what we're talking about with online and social media. Like, you have to understand that. That doesn't mean your company's online if they're doing that. That's great. It's just a way to maybe communicate. But that's this much on what you actually need to run a successful business online.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing, guys. You know, you're watching us online right now, right? Everybody's online. It's not changing. It's not like all of a sudden everyone's going to go offline. It's growing and growing and growing, right? People now more than ever, they are looking to make money online. They don't know where to go, right? They have no idea. I tell people, if you have social media, you have a smartphone, you can build a business. Right, but the social media piece is super important, because people don't know what to do on social media, right? Some people are like always posting about their company, which is terrible, or they're sending cold messages and they're getting in people's DMs saying, hey dude, hey girl, right? We've all gotten them, right? We're like, oh my gosh, here he goes, here she goes, right? You know, they're doing these practices and these quote unquote techniques that we're like, who is teaching you guys that? Right? It is not in an interesting, compelling, authentic way that people are showing up on social media. So people just are not taught that, right? So you had to find a company, guys, that like, I would ask them like, how do you teach people how to show up on social media? Do you teach them what to post? Do you teach them what to say in Messenger once you post? Do you have, do you teach curiosity marketing? Do you teach engagement posting? Like, what do you teach to allow people to have tools to be successful? Like, what do you have? Right? And it's really important because a lot of people now more than ever, they want to build online, but they're not savvy, right? They're the next door neighbor. They're someone that's just getting started. So you have to make sure like that business is all social media, right? Are they teaching stories? Are they teaching reels? Are they teaching how to post stuff where people are naturally attracted to you, right? Are they teaching you those things? Guys, that's super important. Like, those things are not going away, right? Those things are not going away. One of our mentors says, hey, these times are changing so much that you either have to adapt or die. Like, it is that serious. So if you are involved in a network marketing company or looking to get involved with them, you have to make sure that you find one that is adapting quickly, progressing, innovating, changing with all of these things. Like, it's super important, guys. If you're looking to have long-term success, you've got to have a company that is building 100% through social media and online. Super important.
And if this is strong in your business, in your company, with the company that you pick, like, you should be able to get customers and people to promote with you right away. Like, your first day in the business. Like, there shouldn't be any guesswork to it. Like, it should be that clear, that simple. Go do this, go post this, go do this, and this is what you're going to get. And it should happen. And if it's not happening, it's not set up the right way.
Yep, exactly. So, first box, okay? Social media, super important. Second box is product or services, right? So guys, it's really important. Like, Tony and I, we've been involved with 2 companies. One company had quite a few products, but they were very, very expensive, which meant people were never going to reorder ever, okay? We might have got order once, but then they don't reorder, which guess what that means in network marketing? No residual income. If we don't have residual income, guys, we got nothing. Right? We talk about the promise of that. You have to have the reorder, right? To create the stickiness and the retention. So for us, our first company, we had none of that, okay? Second company, we had a couple of products, but we had very few, right? So if you're looking to build like a huge customer base across where you're going to have people that are going to reorder month after month, it has to be broad spectrum of products. Right? But it also needs to be, guys, not such crazy products that people can understand. We had a couple of products in our prior company that was so, like, they were awesome, but they were so out there. Number one, like the customers couldn't really grasp the concept of what it was.
Which is the masses of people.
Yeah. And then number 2, people like Tony and I, right? Distributors, like, we couldn't even talk about it. So guess what? It was hard, right? It was hard. It was like we felt like we had to throw a lab coat on and like talk about, the crazy ingredients from the Himalayas that whatever, right? And so it was really tough. It was a tough thing. And so you need to make sure that you find a product line that, like, it's for you and I. It's for you and I. Like, we can simply talk about it. It's like everyday essentials. I know sometimes people are like, everyday essentials are not sexy. I know they're not sexy, but guess what? People use them every day, right? And if they use them every day, guess what happens? They empty. And guess what happens when they empty? They reorder, right? They reorder. And so that's the thing you guys got to be looking for is, like, are you representing a product line that is, number one, cost effective, right? It's got to be something that people are like, okay, they don't even have to think about ordering. They just order. If they have to think about ordering because, I can order this, or I have to pay my utility bill, or I can order my kids' uniforms for a sport, or I order this. Like, if that is happening, you're in trouble. Like, you're in trouble. Like, you don't want your customers to have to be thinking. It needs to be like instant, like, transfer buying. Like, it needs to be like immediately. Okay, so super simple. So you need to make sure you have that product line that people are automatically reordering because it's cost effective and they're everyday essentials. Super important.
And what they do, and this is key, is they set and forget, meaning they set up the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things they're going to use, and they forget about it. It
Right.
shows up when they want it to show up. You know, they know it's coming. They're excited to see them. They know they're going to be awesome because they've been using them. And they love that they don't have to go and find them, and they're just there and they replenish, right?
Yep.
And that right there can create a couple different things. Security, stability. You know what's happening in your business. You know what's showing up volume-wise in your business. You know what's going to stick there and be really sticky no matter what.
Yeah. Well, it's what I call solid and steady, okay? Again, for those of you that have been involved in the profession before, people are tired of the feast and famine. They're tired of one great month, one really bad month, one great month, one really bad month, right? Like, nobody wants that. People are looking for like steady Eddie. Like when we decided, almost 10 years ago, we were like, listen, I want to be able to build something that's steady and solid, and take that incremental growth. Guys, that's the thing that we want. Okay, we don't want the hype. We don't want to be part of the companies that are like the bottle rockets. It might be awesome for 6 months, but it crashes and burns as fast as it goes up as it goes down. Like, that is not something that I know that any of us are looking for, right? So it's important to be looking to have that long-term vision, right? It's not the, hey, I'm going to get in to make a bunch of money and that's it. It's the, hey, listen, I see the long-term vision of what I want to build for myself and for my family, right? I think that's super important, is to have that long-term vision piece.
And you got to be in a company that they're always innovating. They're always creating new products. They're always rolling things out. If it's one every couple years, you're in trouble, right? I mean, it should be, a half a dozen to a dozen a year that come into the marketplace. And here's why this is so important too, because now you have a business, you have a foundation, and then they take those new products and they just add them to their order. And they might not add all of them, but they might add 1 or 2, right? And that just creates more stickiness to your business.
Yep, exactly. All right, so next checkbox, okay? So check, right? You gotta check those off. So next one is daily pay. Guys, daily pay is so important. You need to be with a company that, like, it pays. People want to see wins. Like, I would love to say that everyone, like, is not about instant gratification, but guys, here's the thing. How many of us have a microwave? How many of us press, 40 seconds on that bad boy, and then all of a sudden there's 20 seconds left, and you're like, I can't wait any longer, and it's only been 20 seconds, right? That's how we are. We're instant, right? It's like, that's what we buy online. We could go to Target and pick up, or we order online and Amazon drops it that day, right? I mean, that's just the way that our society is. So the same thing in our business is that people are looking to get wins right away. If you can help people, right, start earning some income right away, they're going to be excited. They're going to have the buzz. They're going to tell the story. They're going to talk to more people, right? So the daily pay is super important. Guys, why do you think people do DoorDash? Why do you think people are doing Uber? Why do you think people do all these other like side gigs, right? Well, what you guys have heard called the gig economy.
Yeah.
People are doing it because they need to make right now money, right? When I talk about it, it's like, that's why some people do what they do. They need to make diaper money. They need to do, daycare money. They need to, they're doing these things to pay for certain things right out of the gate, right? How many of you guys have met people, driving Uber and they're like, oh, I'm a school teacher. I just do this for some like extra money because I'm taking my kids, I want to take my kids to Disneyland. Or, hey, I'm this, but I'm also just doing this on the side, right? So, but again, they're doing it because they love, right? They love that instant money. And so the same thing, it's really important to be with a company that does daily pay. Like, that is super, super crazy important.
Here's a big point to this, and then we'll move to the next one, is that people will say, can I do this? And will it work for me?
Right.
So you know what happens with daily pay? It answers those questions. Can I do it? Yeah, I can do it. Wow, will it work for me? I just had money show up because I got a customer, because I had someone start promoting with me today and it's in my account. What does that do for somebody? It builds their confidence. It tells them, man, I can pull this off. Oh my gosh, I want my next daily pay. I want my next customer. I want my next promoter. I want the next person, right? And it gives them extra motivation. It gives them, another push, right? It gives them another, pep in their step to say, you know what? I can do this. Like, I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow and in the next day and by the end of the week to see how far I am. That's the magic in daily pay.
Yep, exactly. So Okay, so we've gone through those, right? Social media box, gotta check it. Product line, gotta check it. Daily pay, gotta check it, right? Number 4, system. Okay, guys, you need to make sure that you are plugged in, right, with a company that has a ridiculously amazing winning system that helps you create leads. Okay, that's the number 1 challenge when people are building a network marketing business is people to talk to, right? People to talk to. And so you need to make sure that you're plugged in with a system that has all these amazing tools that are built out that can help get eyeballs on your social media, eyeballs on your stories, eyeballs on your reels, eyeballs on your posts, right? So you got to make sure, like, what does that system look like? Because that's the number 1 thing that we see is lead generation, right? People all of a sudden, they don't have people to talk to anymore or what have you. So do you have a system that is consistently feeding that machine to help pump out leads for people so they can keep on, having people to talk to and have those conversations with, right? Now, another one, a box you have to check off. Guys, you need to be part of a company that you don't have to necessarily do any recruiting, right? You need to have a company that if people just want to go out and build an amazing, customer base and have fun, like they can do that. They're not required to have to build a team out there because the reality is a lot of people, they don't want to do that. They just want to get out there and have fun and they want to tell their story and they want to share a product that they love, right? And they want to be able to do that. So, make sure, like, does that company have that, right? Where there's no recruiting. Like, you don't have to recruit if you don't want to. Like, that is a huge, huge box that you need to make sure that you can check off.
But then another side of that is you got to make sure that pay plan for just maybe getting customers without doing any recruiting actually is pretty aggressive and pays you, right?
Exactly.
Because you're not going to do it for a couple dollars.
Exactly.
Right? You might get excited if you see a couple $100 or a couple $1,000, right? See, that's a different story. And you got to really be clear on that. And that's really got to be something you look into because that is another motivator we talked about, right? With that daily pay. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I sold XYZ. I got 1 customer and I got how much off that 1 customer?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That again is a motivator for people. So that's a big box.
Yeah. So literally Tony's saying, like, hey, you need to make sure that plan, you can make just as much as acquiring customers as you can building a big, huge business. Like, It can't be like, oh, you can just make a little bit acquiring customers. And then if you build a team, ooh, you're going to be amazing, right? Because that's what typically happens, right? We've all seen it. And for a lot of us, we're like, oh my God, that's why I haven't been able to really make any money. I'm in a company that it's just like, all the people that are promoted are these big, amazing builders and recruiters, and that's not me, right? Like, you got to find a place that you feel comfortable and that you're like, oh my gosh, like I can, have fun doing this part-time and share products, and I can make just as much money, right, as a builder. Like, that's really, really important, guys. Like, that's so huge, so huge. Okay, another checkbox. Real duplication. For those of you that have been in network marketing, we hear about this, okay? But I will tell you, everyone's like, does real duplication actually exist, right? Well, guess what we could tell you? The answer is yes. We're experiencing it in a big way. It's happening. Real duplication really, really exists, guys. Meaning, like, people that are on, your 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 10th, 20th level, like, are they all able to do the same thing, right? Whether you're able to get connected with them or not, does that happen? Most network marketing companies, the answer is no. It typically falls apart, right? So your business starts eroding from the bottom up, and then people's checks are crashing. So you need to make sure that you are actually plugged in with just a company that has this real solid, like, just solid duplication. And I think too, this also is tied in with the system, right? Meaning, let's say that I introduced Tony to the business, a business, and then Tony introduced his friend. Like, he needs to be able to plug his friend into the system immediately and launch that person. Meaning I shouldn't have to always be there. And typically what happens is that that's not the case. The case is that, you have to be there to launch every person inside of everybody's teams in your organization, which is exhausting and daunting, where you need to be able to have something that literally is plug and play that anybody can do, that can start duplicating, like, immediately right out of the gate. Like, that is such a big, big piece because typically what we see happens is that I'll bring in Tony and he'll bring in his next door neighbor Joe, and Joe literally the next day is completely lost. Joe has no idea what to do. He doesn't know how to do anything. He's like, what am I supposed to be doing, Tony? And Tony's like, I don't know, I'm new, right? That's not a good scenario. That's not a good scenario, right? You've got to make sure that you're able to have a system that literally anybody can plug people into immediately, so they can get trained up right away, so then they can go out there and start sharing the story and start building a business. Like, super important. That piece for duplication is everything.
Yeah, and I think the last bucket is training and support. And these are two words that people throw around all the time. You're going to have so much training with me and so much support. And we talk to people every day and they're like, Tony, they said that and they signed me up and I've never heard from them again. Like,
right. How many guys have that happened, right? Some of you guys that are network marketing, you're like, dude, like, I mean, that's kind of what happened to me. I signed up, right? My boyfriend signed me up and then he went MIA, and he was my boyfriend and I saw him. I was like, bro, like, what happened? Like, you signed me up and then you're like, hey, go get him, right? I mean, it's the support piece is everything. I tell people, I'm like, just because you can sign somebody up, that doesn't make you amazing. I mean, what makes you amazing is being able to offer that support and that training and that ongoing, and especially when you're brand new, like, oh my gosh, for a lot of us, like this was a new world to all of us. It was so new. Like, I knew nothing about. I was 21 years old. You know what I mean? I had no business being in business, but I love the fact that there was incredible training and support where, Tony talked about earlier, set it and forget it. They didn't set it and forget me. I was like, please don't set me and forget me, right? But it's sad, guys, because that's what happens so much in the business. Like, so much people are like, I didn't know what to do, so I didn't have any success. I didn't have any support. Like, I mean, I didn't have anything to get plugged into, right? So again, it's kind of like, what's that, the company that you're a part of, like, what's the nucleus of that? Like, what's the fire? Like, do they have something that it's kind of like, it's an incubator that's going to allow you to grow and to flourish, right? On a part-time basis to grow a business. Like, what does that actually look like? And don't be afraid, guys, to have those questions. Like, don't be afraid to ask those questions. If you're really sitting down and evaluating a network marketing company, like, you need to say, like, what does this look like? Like, if I get in and I really go and do this, like, what does that look like? I think people just kind of blindly go in and they're like, oh, this looks great because they saw a 3-minute video. But I'm like, guys, no, like, these things in this checklist are uber important. If you're somebody like us where we're like, we just want to get in, we want to stick, we want to stay, we want to build something long term for a very, very long time, and we want to help a ton of people achieve like crazy success, right? Health-wise, financially, all the above, right? So I think it's important, like this checklist that we're talking about, like, please don't just kind of brush it off. It really is something important that if you're evaluating a company, they got to check all the boxes. And if you are in a company, you need to make sure that your boxes are checked. You know what I mean? Like, it's so important and vital for your success.
So here's the deal. If you want some more information specifically about this, we'd love to reach out to you and have a conversation. And, we only could share a little bit today, but I mean, we have so much more. And, we're super grateful because, we've been with our current company now, 9 years?
Yep.
And it's been the best ride we've ever been on in 25 years in the profession. And I think more than anything, it's not about, oh, Tony and Sarah make all this money. It's about all the people that are winning.
Yeah. And
are making money and are having success and are having fun and are like going, wow, this profession really can be amazing, right? And we see that every day here, don't we?
Yeah. Well, I think what people look at and they go, wow, I didn't know like network marketing can be this. Because people have this preconceived notion of all the things we talked about, guys. That's why people are like, I don't like that profession. I'm like, oh, well, that's just because you're seeing things from, unfortunately seeing different companies and things that happen inside of there that they don't allow people to have success. Like it doesn't foster success in any way. And so we love this profession, and I just encourage you guys, you gotta make sure you find a company that hits these things. They're really important. Like Tony talked about, if you're somebody that you're like, hey, I'm digging around, I'm trying to find the right place or what have you, we'd love to have a conversation with you. Hit us up in direct message and or comment below. We'll definitely love to get connected. But if you guys got some great value, we encourage you guys to share this out. It's great to spend some time with you guys, and we'll talk to you on the next live. Take care, everybody.